13 symptoms that indicate your self-esteem may be low. For a little while, imagine that having a good and happy life has nothing to do with material possessions or receiving praise from others. Instead, it has everything to do with something very powerful that is inside of you and only waiting for you to find and use it. We're not just discussing theories here. We're talking about something actual. This ancient method of thought is known as Stoicism, and it has helped countless individuals throughout the years live meaningful lives, overcome adversity, and maintain inner peace. We're going to go on a journey to learn about Stoicism and how it can help us value ourselves more. It's not just about getting better at stuff. It's about remembering how awesome we are and living our lives in a way that feels right to us. If you're ready to feel more free, strong, and happy, you're in the right place. Let's do this together. Don't skip any part of this because you're special and you're here for a reason. These are the things that really matter, even when the world around us is crazy and things are tough. Number 1, we've all been there, don't we? Stuck in an unsatisfactory work, staying in relationships that don't make us happy, or letting our dreams slip away because we're scared, we settle, we compromise, we tell ourselves that this is the best it's going to get. But why do we do that? Is it fear? Is it because we're comfortable where we are? Stoicism tells us that our true worth, who we really are deep down, isn't defined by our circumstances, whether we're living in luxury or struggling. What matters most is how we deal with it. It's about realizing that even though we can't control everything that happens to us, we can control how we react to it. Think about it. When we accept less than we deserve, aren't we basically saying that our situation has more power over us than we do? Stoicism challenges us to think differently. It asks us, is this situation in line with my values? Am I acting in a way that reflects my true worth? And if the answer is no, Stoicism doesn't leave us feeling hopeless. Instead, it tells us that we have the power to change our perspective, to choose our response, and to change our reality. So when you catch yourself settling for less than you deserve, remember this Stoic wisdom. Remind yourself that your worth isn't based on your career, your relationship, or the amount of money you have in your bank account. Rather, it's based on how brave and wise you are, how true you are to your values, and how brave you are no matter what life throws at you. This isn't about blaming ourselves for where we are. Rather, it's about realizing the power we have to change it. Let's not settle for less, not because we believe we are better than others, but rather because we know our own worth. When we do that, we're not just surviving. Rather, we are truly thriving in the true Stoic style. Stoicism doesn't encourage us to brag or boast. Rather, it teaches us to honestly recognize our own strengths and virtues. Number 2, downplaying your accomplishments. Why should we celebrate our successes? It's not about bragging or feeling pleased of ourselves. Rather, it's about acknowledging the discipline, hard work, and perseverance required to get there. It's also about honoring our commitment to our objectives and adhering to our values. Let's break it down a little. When you succeed in anything, no matter how big or small, it's usually because you've practiced virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. For example, you may have needed courage to apply for a job, wisdom to handle challenges, or discipline to clean out your closet. When you dismiss your accomplishments as luck or something anyone could accomplish, you're not only undervaluing yourself, but also the virtues you've practiced to succeed. So how do we change this mindset? Think about something you've accomplished recently, no matter how big or small. Consider the virtues you used to make it happen. Maybe you showed discipline, took a brave step, or used your wisdom. Take a moment to acknowledge it. The Stoic way is about balance and honesty. It's about saying, yes, I worked hard for this. Yes, I faced challenges and overcame them. And yes, this achievement reflects my effort and virtues. Acknowledging our accomplishments isn't about ego. Rather, it's about recognizing the virtues we've embodied and the hard work we've put in. Now, let's talk about something common. Putting others before ourselves can feel noble and selfless, but doing so consistently. Practicing this Stoic approach can change how we see ourselves and our successes. It helps us move past false modesty and appreciate our strengths and capabilities, can result in anger and burnout. Stoicism is about finding balance between taking care of ourselves and others. It emphasizes the importance of prioritizing the needs of others over our own. This is the third reason for taking care of ourselves. It's not selfish. Rather, it's the prerequisite for being able to take care of others well. Stoicism reminds us that before we can help others, we need to make sure we're doing okay physically, mentally, and spiritually. Let's break it down. Stoicism discusses what we can control and what we can't. We can control our own thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, and yes, even self-care, but we cannot control the well-being of others as much as we would like to. What we can control, however, is how prepared we are to assist and support those around us. Consider it this way. How much better can you be for the people in your life when you are well-rested, healthy, and at peace? How much more patient, understanding, and present can you be? It's not just about physical health. It's about mental and emotional strength as well. It's about compassion. How can we strike a balance between providing sound counsel and standing by others in times of need? The first step is realizing that self-care isn't selfish. Rather, it's essential. It entails scheduling time for activities that rejuvenate us, such as exercise, meditation, or just some alone time. It also entails setting limits and saying no when necessary. Ultimately, though, self-care is about being the best versions of ourselves for the people we love. This week, make time for self-care a priority. Perhaps that means going for daily walks, engaging in a favorite hobby, or putting limits on your work hours. Whatever you choose, always remember that taking care of yourself allows you to be there for others as well. Stoicism also teaches us to see ourselves clearly, which entails acknowledging both our strengths and weaknesses and striving to improve every day. Number 4, struggling to accept compliments and realizing our worth isn't about being conceited. Rather, it's about viewing ourselves honestly and fairly. But why is it difficult to accept compliments? Sometimes we see ourselves through a distorted prism. We might concentrate too much on our flaws or believe that acknowledging our strengths makes us conceited. However, Stoicism teaches us that being humble doesn't mean ignoring our strengths. Rather, it means viewing them realistically without allowing our egos or insecurities get in the way. Changes the way we think about ourselves. When someone says something nice, instead of brushing it off, see it as a reflection of your hard work and good qualities. Saying thank you doesn't make us less than others. Rather, it helps us become more aware of ourselves and our abilities. When someone praises us, they're seeing something real in us, something worth celebrating. So how do we get better at taking compliments? It starts with changing the way we think. Stoicism also advises us to make the most of these times by reflecting on our accomplishments and efforts. To put it another way, it's not about inflating your ego. Rather, it's about realizing the part of you that is capable of great things. Have you ever struggled to make a decision, no matter how small? Stoicism can assist with that as well. It's like a light in the darkness of indecision. Number 5. Avoiding decision-making. Stoicism reminds us that while we can't control every outcome, we are completely in charge of how we make decisions. It's about making choices that match our values, being honest, and accepting whatever happens next as just part of life's ups and downs. Why are we so afraid of making decisions? Most of the time, it's because we're afraid of making a mistake and feeling like failures. Stoicism teaches us that making wise decisions isn't about always getting what we want. Instead, it's about using wisdom and logic to guide our choices. However, Stoicism views mistakes as lessons rather than failures, and every result teaches us something new. This perspective empowers us to make bold decisions, confident that even if things don't work out as planned, we will still learn and develop. But how can we develop this confidence in ourselves? To start, apply wisdom and logic to every decision you make. Then, consider whether it aligns with your values. Am I telling the truth to myself? by basing our choices on the things that are most important to us. Stoicism also teaches us to focus our mental energy in the right places rather than dwelling on our mistakes. We should focus on getting better. Perfection isn't real, progress is what matters. This process helps us trust ourselves more, knowing that we can handle whatever life throws at us. We can feel confident that we're doing our best with what we know. Every outcome, good or bad, gives you insights into what went well and what didn't. It's a chance to think, learn, and grow. Stoicism teaches us to be kinder to ourselves, learn from our mistakes, and keep growing one step at a time. Since we need to keep moving forward, learning from our experiences, and becoming better versions of ourselves, why do we beat ourselves up so much? It's time to let go of that excessive self-criticism and focus on progress instead. Number 6. Excessive self-criticism. We often feel inadequate because we hold ourselves to unattainable standards that we wouldn't expect from anyone else. We forget that being human means making mistakes and growing from them. Self-imposed pressure can be relieved by practicing self-compassion and stoicism, which is about striving for progress rather than perfection. Self-compassion and stoicism isn't about picking fault with ourselves. Rather, it's about treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, just like we would a friend. It entails acknowledging that obstacles are a natural aspect of being human and considering what lessons we can get from them. How can I develop? Every effort, even if it doesn't go as planned, is a step in the right direction. But why do we constantly measure our value against those around us? Social media has made this worse by allowing us to view highlights of other people's lives, which makes us doubt our own. Stoicism encourages us to concentrate on our own journeys, recognize our own development, and be grateful for our accomplishments. How can we use Stoic principles to overcome the comparison trap? First, by practicing mindfulness and recognizing when we're comparing ourselves to others. Then, by turning our focus inward and appreciating our own growth and virtues. Stoicism teaches us that our worth isn't defined by others' achievements, it's about our own progress. It doesn't mean ignoring others' successes. Rather, it means finding inspiration in them rather than feeling inadequate. And how we keep becoming better. Number 7. Constant comparison with others. Stoicism teaches us to focus on the things we can control, such as our efforts, attitudes, and virtues, which are the things that shape our unique journey regardless of what others are doing. By nurturing these aspects of ourselves. This is important to remember when we look at other people's social media posts and compare their polished posts to our everyday moments. It's not about settling for less. Rather, it's about striving for growth from a place of satisfaction rather than feeling inadequate. Have you ever put off doing something you really wanted to do, like taking a course or starting a hobby? Many of us do this, and it's often because we don't recognize the value of gratitude. When we appreciate our own experiences, challenges, and accomplishments, we find contentment in the present, our own worth. But Stoicism forces us to view self-improvement as an act of self-respect. Stoicism teaches us that what truly fulfills us is our capacity for virtue-driven thought and action. Our inner world demands care and attention. If we neglect our personal growth, it won't flourish. Therefore, why do we hesitate to invest in ourselves? Sometimes it's because we value instant gratification over long-term fulfillment. Other times, it's because we struggle with self-esteem, may feel that we aren't deserving of investment, but Stoicism reminds us otherwise, that we are. Number 8. Lack of personal investment. Stoicism provides an alternative perspective, stating that each person has worth and the capacity to grow. By investing in ourselves, whether it be through taking care of ourselves, learning new skills, or engaging in hobbies, we acknowledge and respect this potential. So how can we begin investing in ourselves in a Stoic manner? It begins with altering our perception of what it means to see personal growth as something significant and unavoidable, but it doesn't mean we have to make drastic changes right away. Instead, we can make tiny, regular changes to better ourselves, such as reading a book, practicing meditation for a short while each day, or taking up a happy hobby. Stoicism also teaches us to reflect on who we are and where we can grow. By doing this, we can direct our efforts toward investing in ourselves, giving our efforts direction and purpose. Another key concept is lifelong learning. Stoics believe that wisdom is a journey we never finish, and that being curious and open to new experiences can change the way we view investing in ourselves. It's not a chore, but rather an exciting adventure that offers us the chance to learn and grow. Stoicism reminds us that true validation comes from within and is not dependent on what other people think of us. Real fulfillment comes from being honest to ourselves, which is why Stoicism urges us to focus on our own journey of living by our beliefs and finding serenity in being true to ourselves. Seeking approval from others typically stems from feelings of insecurity or fear that we're not good enough. Stoicism advises us to regularly reflect on our intentions. It's about making sure our actions line up with our own values and principles rather than just seeking validation from others. Number 9, seeking external validation. So how do we stop relying on others to feel good about ourselves? The first step is being aware of our tendency to seek approval by paying attention to why we do things. We can figure out if we're chasing goals for ourselves or just for the applause. Another Stoic idea is being self-sufficient. This doesn't mean cutting yourself. Stoicism also suggests that we should reevaluate what success means, and instead of measuring it by accolades or achievements, we should measure it by how well we live by our values. Success, according to Stoicism, is about being virtuous, thinking clearly, and being strong when life gets tough. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, reminds us that by focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we can't, we rely less on other people's opinions. Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic, reminds us that our inner peace comes from how we respond to things, not just what's happening around us. Why do we stay in bad situations sometimes? Sometimes we're scared of change or doubt our worth. Stoicism challenges these fears by showing us that we can overcome the feelings of being stuck in a thick forest where every step is a struggle. It might be a toxic job or unhealthy relationships that make us feel trapped. Knowing that we are worthwhile and capable of making decisions helps us to challenge the notion that we are stuck and realize that we have the power to alter our circumstances and the way we perceive them. Number 10, tolerance for unfavorable environments. Stoicism provides us with the means to deal with and alter our surroundings. One crucial practice is developing inner strength and independence. This doesn't entail being aloof or cold. Rather, it refers to strengthening our inner selves so we can uphold our morals even in the face of adversity. Another Stoic idea is living in harmony with nature, which means finding peace in ourselves and our surroundings. It's about making sure we're in places that help us grow, stay healthy, and be happy. We deserve respect, kindness, and positive interactions, so we shouldn't settle for less. Practically speaking, this could mean setting boundaries in relationships, looking for better job opportunities, or finding friends who support us. Living in harmony with nature helps us become less affected by negative things and improves our ability to make good decisions. It also involves dedicating time to activities that improve our mental and emotional well-being, such as writing, meditation, or hobbies. Why are we so afraid? We fear losing things, squandering time, or facing criticism from others. Stoicism encourages us to weigh our fears against the possibility of happiness, growth, and realizing our dreams. It shows us that it is worthwhile to strive to be good and true to ourselves, even if we don't always succeed. Number 11, fear of pursuing dreams. Let's talk about facing our fears head-on. It's about thinking about the worst things that could happen, not to dwell on them, but to show ourselves that we can handle them. Frequently, when we really think about our fears, they seem less scary than we thought. It's not about being careless. This technique of thinking about the worst things that could happen is called negative visualization today. It's like mentally preparing ourselves for tough times so we can handle them better. but about realizing that, even though it's possible, failure is just another step in our journey of learning and development. Another Stoic concept that can encourage us to pursue our goals is known as amor fati, which literally translates to loving our fate. It means that, when we approach life in this way, we're prepared for all the ups and downs that come with it. This kind of thinking allows us to overcome fear and move forward fearlessly. Stoicism serves as a reminder to live life in accordance with our own potential and values. We should be honest, diligent, and brave even if we are too afraid to follow our dreams, because doing so will not only save us from failure, but also from living a life that is authentic to who we are. Why do we forget this crucial lesson? Because we all want to feel accepted and connected, but sometimes we find our value in what other people think of us, or in how successful we are. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, said that real freedom comes from letting go of our desires rather than from obtaining everything we want. This also applies to how we see our own worth. Stoicism advises us to focus on developing our character rather than just chasing after accomplishments. Our worth isn't about titles or awards. Rather, it's about being the best version of ourselves. That's the place real fulfillment is found. Number 12, failure to recognize your own worth. Our worth is determined by how we live our lives with courage, kindness, and honesty regardless of what is going on around us. Sure, accolades and recognition are nice, but they don't really matter. Our value comes from who we are on the inside, just like the stars in the sky. Once we realize this, we can stop constantly pursuing other people's approval. So how can we, like the Stoics, learn to see our own worth? It begins with looking inward and appreciating our strengths, our accomplishments, and our resilience in the face of adversity. It also entails being grateful for who we are and what we can accomplish, realizing that these are the things that truly make us valuable. Finally, it means refusing to let the opinions of others or our own successes or failures define our value. It's not about being indifferent, but rather about adopting a more expansive view of what actually matters. Sometimes it's difficult to feel valuable in our lives. Perhaps we've been let down or hurt in the past, or we compare ourselves to others and feel unworthy. Stoicism encourages us to confront these feelings, reminding us that everyone faces difficulties and that happiness isn't something that only a select few can obtain. Stoicism also enables us to see that our worth comes from being true to who we are and what we stand for. Number 13, feeling unworthy of happiness. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, and let go of what we cannot. This means that happiness is something we create every day rather than something we earn or wait for. We can find happiness in doing what is right and reasonable. So how do we start living this way? We need to shift the way we think about happiness and stop equating it with accomplishments or what other people think of us. We should view it as something that results from leading a good life, making the best decisions we can, and appreciating what we have right now. Stoicism also serves as a reminder to be grateful, because when we concentrate on what we have rather than what we lack, we discover that there are many things in our daily lives to be joyful about. It also lets us know that we're not alone in our quest for happiness, because building strong relationships and helping others is crucial. As we learn from Stoicism, remember that you are in control of your own happiness, capable of realizing your dreams, and deserving of all the good things that come your way. If you want to learn more about Stoic practices, watch the video on the screen. If this message resonates with you, share it with your friends. Together, we can spread the wisdom of Stoicism and assist others in discovering their worth and happiness as well. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who might find it useful.